A massive trade dispute has just exploded between the world's two largest democracies, and it's shaking a key global partnership right to its core. So let's get into it. This is the story of how one decision sent shockwaves around the world.
And it all kicks off with this one single number, 50%. Yeah, that's the new, absolutely massive tariff that's been slapped on a whole range of Indian goods coming into the United States. You know, a number that big isn't just a tax, it's a message. And believe me, that message has been received loud and clear.
So how exactly does a 50% tariff even work? Well, it's a move that people are already calling a serious blow to the relationship between Washington and New Delhi.
Now, this 50% tariff didn't just appear out of thin air. What actually happened is that a brand new, punitive 25% tariff got stacked right on top of an existing 25% tariff. So, bang, the duties on everything from clothes and jewelry to furniture just doubled, putting them at the same level as the really steep tariffs the U.S. has on China. And that brings us to the real question at the heart of all this. Why would the U.S. make such a dramatic move against a country that's supposed to be a growing strategic partner? Well, the answer's thousands of miles away, in Russia. So what was the final straw? What really set this all off? The immediate trigger was that negotiations just completely fell apart. After 5 rounds of trade talks basically went nowhere, Washington decided it was time to stop talking and start acting. And the core reason, the whole issue this boils down to, is this: India's ongoing large-scale purchases of Russian oil. From Washington's point of view, that money is directly helping to fund Moscow's war machine. This punishing new tariff is the direct consequence of that. And you can just see how quickly this all went downhill. These two countries went from being long-term partners to sitting through 5 super tense rounds of trade talks. But those talks failed. Officials said they were full of miscalculations and missed signals, and that failure led directly to these tariffs. But these tariffs aren't just diplomatic moves on a chessboard. They're causing real, immediate, and pretty severe economic pain on the ground in India, hitting entire industries and, of course, their workers. And the impact is being felt across some of India's most important labor-intensive industries. We're talking about clothing, jewelry, footwear, furniture. For thousands of small businesses in these sectors, this isn't some abstract trade dispute. It's an existential crisis that could literally price them out of their single biggest market overnight. And behind those industries, of course, are people. The human cost here is just staggering. Some estimates are suggesting that up to 2 million jobs could be at risk in the short term. That's a huge potential blow to the Indian workforce. The financial markets, as you can imagine, reacted instantly. The stock market had its worst day in 3 months, and the Indian rupee took a nosedive. But the impact here goes way beyond India's borders. Because as Indian goods get more expensive, you've got competitors like Vietnam and Bangladesh just waiting in the wings, ready to swoop in and grab that market share. And you know, to understand why this is such a big deal, you have to look at the scale of this trade relationship. We're talking about nearly $130 billion in total two-way trade. But here's the really crucial part that complicates everything. The U.S. imports way more from India than it exports, which creates a pretty big trade deficit. That imbalance is always simmering in the background of these kinds of talks. At the end of the day, this economic fight is really a diplomatic one. And right now, what we're seeing is a total deadlock. 2 of the world's most powerful democracies, and each one is completely dug into its position. The U.S. position, laid out here by White House trade advisor Peter Navarro, is about as direct as it gets. He's basically saying, hey, the solution is simple. Stop buying Russian oil, and this extra tariff goes away tomorrow. It frames the entire thing as a very clear choice that India can make anytime it wants. But India's response is just as firm. Kirti Vardhan Singh, India's junior foreign minister, frames this not as a geopolitical choice, but as a fundamental issue of national interest, specifically energy security. The message is unmistakable. India will buy its energy from whoever offers the best deal for its people and its economy. So there you have it, 2 totally clashing worldviews. The U.S. says India is helping to fund Russia's war. India fires back that it's just protecting its own energy needs, and then accuses Washington of applying a double standard, pointing out that U.S. and European companies still have their own trade links with Russia. And this is where things get much bigger than just trade figures and tariffs. Because what's truly at risk here is the entire future of the strategic partnership between the U.S. and India, an alliance that has been carefully built over decades. Which leaves us to the critical, maybe billion-dollar question: can a partnership this important especially for maintaining balance in Asia. Can it actually survive a trade war of this size? I mean, the stakes really could not be higher. This isn't just about economics. This dispute puts a key security partnership in jeopardy, one that's built on shared concerns about China. And the real irony is, it undermines India's growing appeal as the very manufacturing alternative to China that the U.S. has been looking for.
And yet, after all that, there is a small glimmer of hope. Even while this public fight was raging, senior officials from both countries actually met, at least virtually, and their joint statement said they were eager to continue enhancing the relationship. That suggests that behind the scenes, both sides know just how much they really stand to lose.
So it leaves us with a really big question to think about, especially in the world we live in today. As new global alliances are forming and old ones are being tested, who really loses the most when the world's largest democracies decide to go head-to-head?